swag vibe, baby.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Show, where we explore the journey of recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. One story, one conversation, and one step at a time. I'm your host, Joe, creating a safe space for honest discussions about the challenges and triumphs of addiction and alcoholism. In each episode, we'll hear inspiring stories and uncover tools that make healing possible. Sobriety is not a one-size-fits-all journey, and you don't have to face it alone. Recovery is possible, and it's worth it. Thank you for joining the Cup of Joe Show. Now let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cup of Joe Show. I'm your host, Joe, and I'm so glad you decided to join me today and my special guest. I'm really excited to have my friend Bill with us. Bill P., I'll tell you a little bit about him. Bill's sobriety journey began on February 20th, 2017, and he's an active member of the Friday Night Group. He's been married for 27 years. To his wonderful wife, Liz, proving that commitment and perseverance aren't just part of his recovery, they're a way of life. When he's not working his program, you'll find him indulging in his favorite hobbies, collecting postcards, coins, and like his friend Sean, as many $100 bills as possible. At home, Bill has a unique little crew, one bird and two rats. You heard that right. That keep things interesting. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing Bill's story today. So, how you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show today. So let's get right into it. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up, what it was like.
Okay. I grew up and pretty much about all over, Joe. I grew up in Maryville for quite a few years. I want to say that's where I grew up at. Behind Maryville High School is where I grew up at, and grew up in a dysfunctional home, and a lot of drugs and alcohol around me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the way that when I grew up, I had peer pressure growing up, and I think that's how I fit in. I'm pretty sure, and I know that's how I fit in.
Yeah.
So
what type of peer pressure do you think, Bill? Can you give an example, kind of?
Well, I mean, you know how some of the older guys, well, you want to try this, man. I say, no, I don't think I want to try that, man. They say, oh, you're a weenie, try it, man.
Yeah.
So, and I did, and that's where it all started at for me. They didn't have to say try it no more. I was all in then.
Yeah. How old were you when you tried it?
I want to say I was probably 12 years old, 11, 12 years old.
Wow.
I was doing a mixture of things. There was a lot to choose from.
A lot of variety.
A lot of accessories too.
Yeah. I know you said you came from a dysfunctional home. Was your mom and dad both in the picture, Bill?
No, my dad was never there. He left us when I was like 3 years old. That's what I've been told. And I met him once when I was like 14, and I lived with him for like 2 years in Syracuse, New York, upstate New York, and that didn't work out too well.
Okay.
I come back here and it all started again. It was just like it was going on up there too, because I was messing with stuff on the way there before I started going there. So I think just living, my mom raised three of us by herself, and of course she wasn't there a lot, so that gave me a little more time to mess with stuff, and I did.
Yeah. So you said you had two siblings? Were older?
Yeah, I have two. They were younger than me. I got a sister that's right under me, about like a year and 3 months. We're like a year and 3 or 4 months apart.
Okay.
Me and her are. Then I've got a baby sister. My baby sister passed away, so she's been gone for about 12 years now.
Oh wow. I'm sorry about that, Bill.
Yeah.
So what was school like for you?
Well, school was pretty normal, I would say. I mean, I made good grades while I was at school. I just never did go.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there were times when I went when I hit seventh grade. It's like everything really started to change for me. Um, a lot of that when I talk about that peer pressure, I walked to school a lot growing up, and I ran into a lot of people along the way.
Yeah.
We all kind of got together and we laid out of school and steal and do drugs and just, I mean, you name it, and we did it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of lifestyle I lived growing up, and it continued that way for a lot of years in my life.
And when you went, and you said you met your dad again, or really got to know your dad again briefly when you were 14, that's what brought you to Syracuse with him, was kind of all the trouble maybe you were getting into? And
Well, yeah, I guess that played some role in it, but he got in contact with somehow he got in contact with me where I was at, and I wanted to see what he was like because I'd never been around him, and plus I was getting in trouble too, and my mom was all for me going there.
right.
But like I said, I was there for 2 years, and that didn't work out because I was drinking some then, smoking grass then. I mean, it wasn't a everyday occurrence thing, but every time I could get my hands on it,
Right.
so we all know how that goes.
Yeah. So, what was high school like, Bill?
I didn't do high school, Joe. I was locked up during those years. I was locked up in the youth department of corrections in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
I was locked up from the time I was 16, about 16 and a half until I was to 18. I was released with the terms of that I got my GED or I turned 18 first, and I turned 18 the same day I got my GED. So, it happened for me.
So you get out of there, and kind of what's next for Bill? What do you do? What do you do after that?
They put me on a bus in Nashville, Tennessee to come home, and when they left the bus station, I went to the liquor store and got a fifth of liquor and proceeded to get drunk and by the time I got to Knoxville, I was pretty much smashed. Just back into the same circle of stuff, man. Just run, back into the same kind of people. Just a messed up way of life. It seems like dysfunctional is all I seem to find growing up a lot in life. I guess that's the only place I felt in, like I was in with the crowd, and I felt somebody like I thought somebody was supposed to feel.
Yeah. Well, and that, and that's, I guess we're kind of products of our environment to a degree, I think. Don't
Exactly.
You? Yeah. So what were your 20s like?
Dysfunctional too. Just a lot of, I didn't hold a job a lot in my 20s. I mean, I would work for just spurts, 2 or 3 months here. Then there was a lot of breaking the law, messing with everything. I mean, selling a little bit of dope here and there for people that really sold dope. I would sell some, to the younger people, down on the streets. And I was on the streets a lot in my 20s.
Yeah.
Just I would say my 20s were pretty much a blackout, Joe. I remember spurts of stuff. I got locked up in my later 20s, though. I was sharing rent with somebody in another state, and I come back to Tennessee because we had some disagreements. And when I come back, he done a burglary up there, and he got caught and said I helped him do it, turned state's evidence on me, and I got extradited. They served extradition on me here. I was locked up by Blount County here, and they served extradition on me, and I fought that. Then they ship you, of course. I got extradited to Columbia, South Carolina, to Richland County Detention Center. Where I spent 20 months until I finally pleaded guilty. I thought they were going to send me to prison, but they ended up letting me go with time served.
Oh, wow.
Because I spent so long in jail. I mean, I wouldn't have spent if they would have went ahead and processed me and sent me on to prison. I wouldn't have spent that long, but because they come at me with a 5-year plea bargain, and I'd done 20 months. So by percentage rate, I'd probably done not flattened it, but I had done a whole lot of that time already.
Right.
So they turned me loose, and I come back, and actually when my sister and her husband, her husband was a drinking buddy of mine, and his brother-in-law, which both of those guys are dead today, picked me up in Columbia, South Carolina at the jail, and it was a party all the way back for like 3 days before we got back to Knoxville.
Wow.
So I started right back into the same waterfall,
Yeah.
I jumped right in. Head first. So it was a downhill slope, man. Just slowly, and I think what was the insanity part about it for me is I enjoyed the insanity of it.
Right.
The not knowing what was going to happen, and or where I was going to end up at, or wake up at, or that was a thing for me. I think I really enjoyed that growing up. Kind of like a thrill seeker, I guess you would call it.
Yeah. And you literally, if I remember some of your story, Bill, you traveled the country. Like, was it by train or hitchhiking or both?
I done a lot of hitchhiking with a guy I run with for years. Matter of fact, the one I had the trouble with in South Carolina. Him and I hitchhiked a lot together, and I hitchhiked quite a bit after I got out of jail. Actually, the resentment was so bad in me, I looked for him for like 3 years and went to about 3 different states and never found him. That was the grace of God working for me.
Yeah.
God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. Because I had bad things in mind. We won't even go there.
Yeah.
Probably not a good thing to do to talk about anyway.
Well, I can imagine how angry you were.
I were. There was a lot of anger built up, and I learned a lot about that in the program, though. What to do with my anger, and not to act out on it, not to react, but respond. And I'm getting better with that today. Life's pretty good for me today.
Was there any time, like when all this was going on, Bill, that you kind of thought, man, I sure am drinking and drugging a lot? Like, were you thinking like this is getting out of control, or?
It was way out of control, and like I said, man, the thrill seeker, the way I was, man, out of control was the way I liked it.
Yeah.
Never knowing not knowing what was going to happen. I mean, somebody was going to knock I didn't really like the idea that somebody may knock my brains out at any time, but that was kind of a thrill too, man. If I could whoop them, or somebody I was with would whoop them, or,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a crazy lifestyle, but that's the kind of lifestyle I lived.
Yeah. There's a lot of violence and that kind of stuff, huh?
Yeah, it kind of scares me today, just thinking that I was living that way, and that's not part of my life today, though.
Yeah. It's one of the powerful things about your story, Bill. I think you're not that same person. What was there anybody that you looked up to when you were, or during that time? Was there anybody that you looked like, man, they kind of got it together? I wouldn't mind being like that.
Well, Joe, that's kind of sad, man. I didn't really know many people like that.
Yeah.
There were spurts of people like that growing up. When I was growing up, that I ran into or just met for a short periods. That I seen them. They partied a little bit, but yet they had their stuff together. They were buying cars and homes, and I kind of envied people like that when I was younger. Because I couldn't seem to do that, man.
Yeah.
It's a sad existence, really. I mean,
Yeah. No, I get it. And so then you're in your 30s, and did
I got sober.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Bill. Sorry. No. You go ahead.
I got sober when I was 30 years for the first time, and I stayed sober for 10 years, Joe.
Okay. That's what I couldn't remember, is when was the first time you tried to get sober?
Yeah, I was in I got married. I had a treatment center romance, which is a no. And I got the girl pregnant. We lived together after we got out of treatment long enough for me to get her pregnant. And I'm glad that God kept in my heart and my mind that I wanted to be sober, because I seen things going south with us, man. And they told me that wouldn't work in treatment, and but being the good alcoholic that I was, I wanted to do it anyway, because that's the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And I went into a halfway house then.
Okay.
Where I stayed. I went into Step's house, and I stayed there for, I don't know, probably 2 years. And I eventually ended up moving out of the halfway house into an apartment that the guy that owned the halfway house, he ended up sponsoring me for 5 years. And I rented a 1-bedroom apartment from him. And I lived in it for I wasn't even in the halfway house for like a year. I was in the halfway house, but a year I was in the apartment by myself. I didn't have, I helped him with the halfway house upstairs, a 3/4 house.
Okay.
It was upstairs from the apartment I lived in.
So you were helping guys too at that time, and
yeah, but that's what I was learning then. Through the program Alcoholics Anonymous. To get out of I was taught from when I got in that halfway house. I was taught from day one, man, to get out of myself and help somebody else. That's where my life's going to start at.
Right.
We even with 30, 60, 90 days, we always learned we had something to give that person that just started,
yeah, absolutely.
I was sent to a detox unit that's not even there anymore. It was called Dry on Alcohol Highway, or on the interstate down there. And I used to go to the Baptist Hospital and UT Alcohol and Drug. Went to places where I could carry a message to the newcomers.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we do today. I mean, it's a little different for me today because I attend meetings today, and I don't go today because I have to. I go because I get to today.
Yeah.
It's changing my life, and changes what I've been taught in the rooms that we have to get rid of the thinking, man. And the drinking will more than likely stay away from us. That's what I work at today, is getting rid of the bad thinking, and just letting God work in my life today, and which has been just wonderful, really. I mean, life still comes at us, but I'm learning today deal with life as it comes along.
Yeah.
I enjoy sitting around the tables today.
So what was you reminded me of our old friend Mike. He used to always talk about our stinking thinking.
Right.
God, we got some stinking thinking. Well, so what, you went back out after 10 years, didn't you?
Yeah.
So what do you think was the driver behind that, or how did
Joe,
that
I can't say it was one certain thing but I can say it was one certain thing. I'll take that back. I wanted to get fucked up more than I wanted to get messed up more than I wanted to stay sober. That's what it amounted to.
Yeah.
Because I had I had got married. Liz and I had got married, but then we'd been married quite for a few years by then. I had a new home, new cars. We were both making good money, and I just stopped utilizing the program, stopped utilizing sponsorship, stop, doing 12-step work and just, helping the other person, man, and taking care of myself. And it all come to where, I want to make as much money as I make. It doesn't matter about any of the rest of it. As long as I got the bills paid and there's money in my pocket, I got a new vehicle to drive. That's what it come about. And that's life is not meant for it to be that way. For this person, it's not anyway.
Yeah. So how long did you stay out, Bill, on that time?
I bounced in and out, Joe, for 5 or 6 or 7 years, man, something like that, man. Just in and out, in and out. Like I said, I picked up actually I never picked up chips even during that time either. Just bouncing in and out. But I've picked up like 4 white chips in 30 years. And I went to a couple of 12-step for Christians too, that I picked them up. There's more, there's like 6 or 7 we count those. But
Right.
4 in AA, and I've been in treatment 4 times in 30 years, so it's not a good track record. But at least I didn't die out there.
Yeah.
So that's only by the grace of God and the 12 steps and sponsorship and the help of you guys around the table. You guys loved me, and this last time till I could love myself and learn how to treat myself right. And I had a lot of help at home with my wife too, but we can't use our wife as our sponsors though. How that would work.
Yeah, I do actually.
Oh, do you have one of those at home?
I have one of those at home. So you're even though you kind of went back out, you were still kind of coming in. You knew there was something there.
Yeah, I did.
Obviously, you had experienced it for some time. So you kind of stayed close. When did you when did you come in kind of and get a little traction?
I didn't get any traction until I made it back in this time, Joe, February 2017.
Okay.
That's when when I got with you guys on that hill up there. Actually, I went to our friend that was a manager of the Park 40 and asked him, told him I was looking for a sponsor. Did he have any person he might direct me to? And that's when he directed me to y'all up on the hill.
Okay. And when Bill says on the hill, what he's talking about is our friend Mike Kay's house. He was one of my sponsors. We called him Special K, and Mike passed away in May of 2020 and had a tremendous impact on a lot of us guys. I know that. We could talk about that some other day, but yeah, that was the hill, right, Bill? Well, so what do you think was the turning point? What was it that?
Joe, I want to say it was all the disgust of knowing what was there for me and me just turning it away, man, to get high because I wanted to get high. And it finally hit me right in the heart. And plus, the mental anguish with it too, man, the mental stuff, man. I mean, it's kind of like when you get a heart full and a head full of AA, a belly full of whiskey and drugs don't mix very well with it.
Yeah.
When you got I had fairly decent recovery, Joe, at that time. It took me a little while to get it, man. Cause I learned from day one, man, that there was a difference in quality and quantity. I would rather have quality sobriety and have a couple years and 30 years and not have done anything and be able to just talk about it instead of not living it.
Yeah.
So quality sobriety meant something to me. And that's one thing about it for me, Joe, was you guys, and I say on the hill again, when I got there, I learned to start watching people, see how they were carrying themselves. Because I was kind of like one of those people from Missouri. You got to show me, baby.
Yeah.
Because I seen a lot of lip service, but I hadn't seen nothing for a while. But when I started going to the meetings where you all were going and going places with y'all, and watching you all in action, I seen that recovery, and that's why I stick with y'all today a lot. I mean, and AA in general too. But I've got, we've all got our people that we like just a little better,
Yeah, of course.
And y'all are my people. I've got a lot of love. I've got a lot of love for the program Alcoholics Anonymous anyway. Because when you get what I've been getting from it for going on now for the last 8, well, I mean, you don't lose it when you relapse. I started this journey 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I picked up a lot of stuff along the way. We don't lose all that knowledge we read from the books and the 12 and 12, the big book, Come to Believe. I mean, just whatever else we read. And I didn't lose that stuff, but it had sunk into my subconscious, I'm sure, man. But it's like when I come back this time and watched you all and started having more belief in my higher power, which I choose to call God today. Things started to click with me, and they're clicking a lot more today. Life's starting to change for me, and it's a one day at a time thing, like we both know. It's for me, it's changing my life one day at a time. Some days are big leaps, and some days just kind of maybe I'll be lucky if I grew a quarter of an inch. But
Yeah.
just life. I mean, but y'all have taught me around the tables, man, and with God in my life, directing my life, I'm learning to live life on life's terms, and sometimes that ain't always easy. But it's a lot better now that I've got God and you people in my life, because my God speaks to you all to me today.
Yeah.
When I can't hear Him, I can hear y'all hollering at me and telling me, "Hey, shut up, stupid, and listen."
Yeah.
But not saying y'all call me stupid. But sometimes I think sometimes I have to be told to shut up and listen.
We both do, Bill. We both do. I certainly have, have had to have my moments of, I don't know. I think where the guys have given me clarity.
Exactly.
And that's important to have in our lives is that fellowship.
Yep.
I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about it, but would you tell us about your son, Bill?
Yeah. My son was born in 93. Actually, October 26, 93. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. November 26. I'm sorry. And he was from the treatment center romance that I was talking about. And he lived in a dysfunctional home too. And I had visitation with him. He stayed with me and the wife, with me and with Liz, we're married today. He come and stayed in our home with us till he was about, every other weekend, until he was about 15, and things started changing. We had more rules at my house and he had at his, and he decided he didn't want to be in my house or our house any longer. And that's when things changed for him. I work a lot and worked a lot. I worked a whole lot more then. I buried him in 2014, October 4th, 2014. Overdose of fentanyl and heroin, which was sad for me, because I always thought one day he would call me and tell me that his mama's dead. Which would I don't want to see anybody die, but which it would have set with me better if she would have went down that way. Of course, we don't get choices in that. That was real sad for me. I think about him all the time. Of course, I mean, if you love somebody and care about them, that's the way it's going to be anyway.
Yeah, of course.
If you're not living a life in drugs and alcohol, we feel today.
Yeah.
And I do feel today, and I'm learning what to do with the feelings. Sometimes I don't always do what I was supposed to do with the feelings.
Right.
But I've got a sponsor in the program today, and I use a sponsor, and I also use the groups that I sit around the tables with, and in Alcoholics Anonymous and in Mike's group, which, like I said, means a lot to me, because I'm still on a journey, man. I'm on a journey of living life better today and learning to be a better person today. And I'm a lot better person than I've ever been in my whole life today. I care about the way I treat people. I care about it. I mean, I didn't used to care about those kind of things, and it means a lot to me to be able to care about how I may influence somebody else.
Yeah.
Uh, I I kind of, I won't say I pride myself in it, but that means a lot to me today to be able to carry myself and be the right kind of person, even though sometimes I don't act the way maybe I should, but I do a lot better job at today than I used to.
Yeah. You're not the same person, you're not the
Right.
same person. And I think we're all working towards what God wants us to be. It's my personal belief. As we stay sober and recover, and we have a chance to improve everything in our lives. So, well, so how else has your life changed since you've gotten sober, Bill?
Um, well, my relationship with my wife has definitely changed. I mean, we still have our bouts where we have little squabbles and stuff. But it's, you know, um, like it talks about, with the steps, it only talks about alcohol in the first half of the first half of the first step. The rest of those steps are designed for living, in which that
Yeah.
design for living I needed humongously, and I've been getting it. And um, like I said, I treat people better today. I treat my wife, I mean, I never was mean to her. She probably beat me up anyway. No, but I get along with her. I get along with everybody a lot better, Joe. And that really, and like I said, it's a journey. It's a journey for all of us, and that journey gets better as long as I remain honest, open minded, and willing to do the things that I learn and things that are the tools that are given to me. I use them, and not get
Yeah.
complacent with anything. I don't know. It continues to change for me. It kind of revolves, I guess, Joe, like you would say. Man, I don't know if that's the right word, I guess.
Yeah. No, I think it does. I think one of my favorite words that I learned in recovery is trudge, where it says, yeah, we move forward with purpose, which is, I just think it's an amazing word. I think that's what we do. We try to do, at least, so what's your daily routine like to maintain your sobriety like, Bill? Like what?
um, okay. For the biggest part of the time, I get up and have quiet time in the morning, and I read something from the daily reflection, something from the big book, something from the big book, the Bible,
Yeah.
and I meditate on those things, um, and I try to have meditation time. I'm not real good at meditation, man, but the quiet time, I guess you would call that meditation, man. For me, just having quiet time, I usually just lay in the dark, man, and pray, and just you know try not to let my brain run wild, which is real hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Didn't you tell me one time you had been diagnosed with ADHD?
yes, I am. I'm untreated ADHD. I can't take the medication, Joe, because I abuse it, man. And I don't take it
Yeah.
then. I'd just rather deal with the ADHD. You know.
I remember that's amazing in itself. I didn't mean to interrupt your daily routine. I
No,
just you just
that's
made me think
okay.
of
I'm pretty good at interrupting myself, Joe.
that. So,
Now the
uh,
ADHD thing kind of gets in the way, but I've learned to deal with that too today, man. I mean that's what they make a pencil and a piece of paper for. To
yeah,
write things down to keep myself going. When I write things down, and it's like I used to try to do, like at work, I would try to, with the ADHD, man, I would have two or three jobs going at one time, and neither one of them finished. And I've learned today just to write a list down that I was going to do, go and do that job, and then check it off my list and start on something else. That's where it affects me more, is like on my job and doing skills and stuff. And I'm sure
yeah,
it affects me with my recovery too sometimes. But the God I have today is pretty strong, so I'm gonna get through that.
yeah. And you are getting through it. Seems, Well, So how do you handle your difficult emotions now, Bill? Like, when things get a little rough, what's the difference between now and then, I guess?
Um, well, where I used to want to control it and fight about it and make sure that I got my way. I don't do that today, even though still sometimes I still want to control it with my actions. And besides, I mean, no violence or anything, but we still want to control things sometimes today. And I'm learning today that I don't have to be in control.
Right.
I mean, myself, I don't have to be in control of every situation though. And that's still hard for me sometimes. And I'm like, but I'm like, I'm just I'm at work, man. I have to continue work on it.
We are works in progress, right?
Exactly, man. I guess I'm
Yeah.
kind of like that. Somebody, an artist that's drawing a picture, and it's about half the way drawn, man, and he just does a little bit at a time. You
Yeah.
know, I'm kind of like that, I guess. The picture's not done yet. Um, I don't know if that made sense to you, but it did to me anyway.
Yeah, of course. So what suggestions would you give to someone who's struggling, with addiction or alcoholism or both right now?
um, Someone struggling with addiction, alcohol, I would suggest they go to AA or NA. But for me, like I said, I found what I need in the program, Alcoholics Anonymous. I've seen a lot of people changing their actions. And I'm not saying they don't in NA, but I've seen a lot more in Alcoholics Anonymous. I've seen them staying sober in numbers because a lot of them did. I didn't believe in God when I got there, and we stayed sober in numbers. And sobriety was what I was looking for when I got there. I wanted to be sober. I was just miserable being drunk and high all the time. And I found it in the rooms, Alcoholics Anonymous, sitting around the tables. And I found actually I found a whole lot more. And I won't say as I found it today. It was given to me. It was there all the time. I just didn't know where to look for it and how to look for it. I guess it's kind
Right.
of like a miner, mining for gold. Um, I don't know. I feel like with AA, I struck gold because the way it's changed my life, man. Just and it continues to do that. But I have to work at it, man. It's I'm a work in progress.
Yeah. What you made me think of a question I had for you. Just what can you talk about your spiritual experience? How that came about, Bill?
I don't know if I can put the right words on it, Joe. I remember the first spiritual experience I had was telling the truth. I thought that was real spiritual
Yeah.
because I mean I was a liar, man. I mean, and being honest today is where it's at for me today, man. No matter if it's good or bad, it has to be honest. And I'm not saying, I would tell my wife if her dress was ugly, it was ugly, but just I mean, being honest, man. Um, and you said you want me to the spiritual life for me today has changed a whole lot for me today. You know, the experiences I have with my life's changed today because uh, the higher power I believe in today is Jesus Christ, and I pursue that. I read the Bible today. Um, I'm in a Sunday school. I mean, that's really going to a lot farther than I've ever been in my whole life, and um, I've learned today that the spiritual part for me is the relationship that I have with God today, and you know, spiritual for me today is having God, and because the God I have, the spiritual experiences I have, I mean, they can be so small today. Um, I mean, just it's like being able to, it's spiritual for me today to just be able to pull money out of my pocket and buy somebody else something, or
Yeah.
and that means a lot. I mean, and being able to talk to somebody and I'm real today. Being able to talk to another person about drugs and alcohol, or even somebody that don't even have problems with drugs and alcohol, they have other problems in life, and just being able to give them some hope. That's spiritual for me, Joe.
Sure.
It's like I said, I work in a church, and I get to talk to a lot of people that are real old, have never been around anything like this, like the 12 steps. And the 12 steps have transformed my life, in which I know today it's God that transformed my life. There has to be a transformation of the heart and the mind. And, I've learned that being in the Bible, plus being, the 12 and 12 is so much about God today. I mean, every time I did not see God in the 12 and 12 in the big book unless it just come right out and said God.
Yeah.
When I look at those pages today, I see God all in them. And spirituality means a lot to me, man, because, it's like I had a guy come up to me at the church. He wasn't in the program, but he had been around 12 steps for Christians. And he told me he was having some problems dealing with stuff going on in his life. I said, have you ever stopped and made a gratitude list, man? Have you ever wrote down everything you're grateful? He was telling me about all these things that were happening to him and stuff he didn't have. And I asked him, have you ever done that? He said, I'm going to try that. You know what? Every time it's been a couple of years, man. And that guy still does that. He talks to me about that still.
Yeah.
That's stuff like it's important for me today because I got that from you all, man. That's a spiritual thing, man.
Yeah.
It is for me.
That's a powerful practice to write a gratitude list.
Yeah.
What's on your gratitude list today, Bill?
Man, my gratitude list is long, baby. Long. Man, I got a place to sleep, something to eat. I got a job. I got people who love me. I got a wife that loves me. I got a God that loves me more than I'll ever comprehend.
Yeah.
I mean, life's changing for me today, and the biggest part of it is good. And I know it will continue to stay that way, as long as I keep a plug in the jug and keep my face away from my pill bottle or the drug dealer's house.
Yeah.
So that's the things that that's actually I haven't got the steps and the God have removed desire to drink and use from my body today, which is a miracle, Joe. I haven't had a desire to drink and use for a long time. I've had fleeting thoughts, but fleeting thoughts are something that I've got tools for today, in which they call them God in my AA group and my sponsor. I've got a circle of men. Actually, one of them's on his way back here to my house now. He just left and went to the Home Depot.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, and I've got friends that care about me today, and they're legit, man. I could call them at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They may not answer the first time, but if I call them 2 or 3 times, man, they'll answer the phone, or I'll wake them up one. And y'all have taught me those things, man. I'm real grateful to get to do this, Joe.
I'm grateful you're doing it too, Bill. It's good to trudge along with you.
Yeah, you too.
What hopes do you have for the future? You got anything in mind?
Actually, I don't have any big things in mind other than getting closer to my God and keeping the plug in the jug and keeping my marriage healthy, keeping my job, and just no long range stuff really right now. Those are the kind of things that keep me afloat. I'm learning today, man, that I don't have to be rich to be happy, man.
Yeah.
I heard a long time ago that happiness was the byproduct of the right kind of living. I didn't quite get that for a lot of years. I do today. The right kind of living changes the way you think about things. It does me anyway.
Well said, Bill. So I can't let you go without doing my rapid fire questions, Bill.
All righty.
So prepare yourself accordingly, buddy. I am Our mutual friend Sean thinks I need to have a theme for a button I can push, but I don't have it. So my rapid fire questions will be coming at you. That's all I got.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite recovery slogan?
First things first.
What is your least favorite recovery slogan?
Think, think, think.
What do you think is your sobriety superpower?
God.
If you could say one thing to your former self, what would it be?
Get it together.
What song do you play to lift your spirits when you need a boost?
I listened to Zach Williams. There Was Jesus.
If you could grant yourself one wish to help with your recovery, what would it be?
To get myself closer to God.
What step do you love the most?
All of them.
What step do you love the what?
The most?
Yeah.
10th.
What step do you love the least?
The 9th.
What is your favorite curse word?
I can't say that online, Joe.
You can actually. You can say whatever you want.
Fuck you. You said it.
Yeah, you said it. And if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Come right on in, my brother.
I love it. Bill, I really appreciate you taking the time to share your story. You've got a great story, and you've shared a lot of hope today, and I appreciate it. We have a new episodes released every Thursday at noon. You can listen to the show on your favorite podcast apps, Amazon Audio, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and others. Just search for The Cup of Joe Show. Don't forget the. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Bill, thank you so much for joining me today, my friend. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
I will. Thank you, Joe.
It's just a laid-back vibe, baby.
We hope you enjoyed today's Experience, Strength, and Hope. We are so grateful you decided to join us. Please share this episode with someone who might need it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, no matter where you are in your recovery journey, you are not alone. Reach up and reach out to someone. Please do not suffer in silence. Until next time, let's take it 1 minute, 1 hour, and 1 day at a time. Thanks for listening to The Cup of Joe Show.